What's going on, everybody? I'm here to give you my breakdown and predictions for the co-main event and main event for UFC Vegas 80, which goes down this Saturday night inside the UFC Apex. First up, we have a middleweight matchup between Joe Pyfer and Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Now, the betting odds have Pyfer as a pretty sizable betting favorite, and I think that's pretty spot on. When it comes to Al Hassan, we've seen him in the octagon 11 times, and you really know what you're going to get from him. He's had some electrifying knockouts. He's also had a few very disappointing losses. The biggest problem for me is that after 11 fights, I feel like we've started to see him stop evolving. And we're not really seeing many adjustments. We're not seeing big changes in his game. He's going to go out there. He's going to try to get a big knockout. If he doesn't, then he's usually going to lose the fight. On the other side, Joe Pyfer has a rocket attached to his back, and the UFC is about to light it into superstardom. Pyfer won his contract on the Contender Series. Since then, he's become a fan favorite because of his aggressive fighting style and his really emotional story with not the best upbringing, didn't have a lot of support from his family. Even to this day, he always talks about how his parents are just, they make fake YouTube accounts to put comments on him saying that he's worthless. It's really just a sad story, but he's emerged from that. He's continuing to get exciting finishes. Now I believe he's 3-0 with his last win being against Gerald Meerschaert. Now, the basic breakdown for this fight is that I just think Pyfer is on a different level, and he still hasn't really shown us everything he has to offer. I think he's starting to get a reputation for being a striker, a knockout artist. I don't know if that's fully true. I think his grappling skills are very underrated. He just hasn't had to show it yet. We thought that would get tested in the Meerschaert fight. It didn't because he got the win so quickly by knockout and then ground and pound. But when it comes to this weekend, I just don't really see many ways Al Hassan can win this fight. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to fully disrespect him because he always has that knockout power that can put anyone out in the division. But other than that, what exactly does he have to offer? This is a mixed martial arts fight. There's so many elements to it, and I think Pyfer is so much better in a lot of these elements that he's going to get the win. I think another side note is when attending the media day this week, Al Hassan was so worried about Joaquin Buckley, who's also fighting on the card. Al Hassan and Buckley fought, I believe, last year. Buckley won a split decision, and all Al Hassan could talk about was Buckley and how he hates Buckley. And then Joe Pyfer came into the media room and said that he just saw Al Hassan shaking hands with Buckley after saying so. The moral of the story is I just think Al Hassan, he's not evolving, his head is in completely different places, and he has a very tough opponent in front of him in Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer is going to get the win. I think it's going to be a knockout in the first round. Now for the main event. It's somewhat of a similar situation as the co-main event. You have Grant Dawson, who now, I should have had this memorized, but he's 5-0 or 6-0 in the UFC at this point. He's become a mainstay in the Apex Center. And we don't really know exactly how far Grant Dawson can show. At times, he's looked like he can be a legitimate title contender in the future. He has amazing grappling skills. His striking is improving. And he's training at American Top Team where you can know that he's going to continue evolving at a young age. On the other side, we have Bobby Green. Bobby Green is one of the last OGs in the MMA fight game, and he continues to go out there and put on good performances. But it's kind of similar to Al Hassan, where we've seen Green has reached his ceiling. He's not going to be a world champion. He probably won't. I really doubt he's ever going to be a contender for it. Really good striker. I do think his grappling skills are underrated. He kind of just gets this reputation probably because of the Makhachev fight, where if he gets taken down, gets submitted, that it'll be over really quickly. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think he has better grappling skills than that. But this fight has a potential to be pretty one-sided for Grant Dawson. Now, don't get me wrong. I think this could go two different ways. Dawson could try to really pursue the takedowns because he's not doing too well in the striking department. If Green defends a couple of those takedowns, you could see Dawson start to get tired and also lose a little bit of confidence. Or Dawson could go out there, get the takedown like we expect him to, utilize that wrestling, rack up control time, maybe even get a win inside the distance. But regardless of which way it happens, I think that Dawson will show more improvements in his striking, which will give him a lot of credit against a veteran like Bobby Green. mix it in those takedowns, show a well-rounded skill set, and prove that he can be a legitimate title contender at 155 pounds by securing a decision win.